Hello and welcome back to another review of me, Kevin, from Kevin Grant on Whisky. This week, as you can see, it's a smaller bottle than usual. This is the SPEY Tenne, which is a tawny port cask finished whisky. Good thing about this name is SPEY, is you know where it's came from. It is a Speyside whisky. So this has had 6 months finishing in a port cask. So it's been bourbon matured for most of its life, and then it's been put into 6 months in a Quinto de Filoco port cask. So the colour of it does look like a rosy wine to me. I think if you had this in the glass, first of all, you'd be a little bit questioning where's that came from, what is it? It's not sherry, it's maybe something else. And as we can see, this is really kind of light in colour. It's just got that really rose tint to it. It's really lovely to look at. So this SPEY here is being built up at Drumgoish near Kingussie. So back in 1956 is when this came around, so it's kind of relatively new if we look at it in that sense. So 1956, really small distillery, about 600,000 litres per annum is what it's producing. There's no visitor centre there, unfortunately, so you can't see, but they've got a place called the Snug in Aviemore, which is like a visitor centre. You can do all your tastings and things there. I've still to go. I've still not been to the distillery, and I've still not been to the Snug. They are on the list of things to do. So in 1956, this distillery was built for, I think it was just like a barley mill and things like that. It wasn't really doing much in the whisky sense, by George Christie. We fast forward to 1987, so we look at 1956, fast forward to 1987, that's when they started producing their whisky. So it's really for about 20-25 years, it's kind of sat dormant, just being built by one single stonemason to bring it back to life. 1990, we go to, it was launched primarily in Taiwan. They have a huge market in Taiwan, SPEY. So they launched their whisky there. Just a couple of expressions, nothing too major. I think it was not even a core range. I don't really know what it was. It was launched in Taiwan or why they went there. It was to follow in the granddad's footsteps of the first ownership. His name I can't remember, but I did think I might have actually wrote that one down. Unfortunately I've not, but I can try and find that out. But he stayed in Taiwan, Scottish, lived in Taiwan. This was built for that kind of market. So in its first few years it became one of the top 3 whiskies in Taiwan, the SPEY, just for the way it was brought, how light it is, how easy sipping it was. We then fast forward to 2012. 2012 is when they made the boom. This is when they've launched their products in the UK and Europe, looking at a completely different avenue, different palettes and things, and maybe a little bit more of how is it going to work here. You know, so no one really knew about this until late 2000s, and it'd been around since the 90s. Unless you're in Taiwan, you'd have known all about it. So it's really cool how they've found a market, or how they knew that market was going to work, and they've just stuck with it, and it's still huge to this day in Taiwan. They've not retracted from it, they've kept it. You only get about 18,000 bottles a year as well of each. So they do the Tenne, which is a tawny port cask, the Trutina, which is a full bourbon maturation, and the Fuma, or the Fumari, which is a peated expression as well. All are really good. So this here, we're going to get this on the nose, we'll get on the palate, we'll go into some more little notes and little bits of history, but let's get this on the nose. It is a port cask. I've not had much whisky with port cask. Some when I do tastings, I don't know, someone says guess what that is, I always get this. I know it's not sherry, and I always forget about port, so it's usually port they'll come in front. So let's get this on the nose first. We'll get it on the palate. It's 46% natural colour, non-chill filtered, all the good things, non-age statement, and this has been out since 2015. I think this is when this was released, the Tenne. So let's try it. So on the nose, it is very fruit led. It's light. It's what would I say that is? It is really it's like fruit on top of a cake. Very nice sweet fruits. Underneath it's like flowers, you know, really nice fresh picked flowers. It's got that real floral note with a real crisp, I would even say jam, like a fruit jam, not just strawberry, but maybe strawberry, berries, cherries, all these things mixed into one, and that kind of sweet note to it. 46%, the alcohol doesn't hit you, it doesn't give you that step back from the glass and try and revisit. It's very nice and elegant, I would say, on the nose. Nice and sweet, jammy, flowers. There's a wee kind of zesty, freshness coming through at the back of it as well. Maybe that bourbon notes giving me maybe a bit of lime coming through, but it is very sweet fruit led and a little bit of sharpness there. It's a good contrast. Maybe a little bit of barley coming through is what I might be getting here. Maybe it just be slightly young, I'm not too sure of the age. But I'm going to say maybe less than 7 anyway. So let's get this on the palate. Slans around. Those sweet notes still hang around. There's this, it's quite, it's light. It does hang about the palate for a little bit, which is good. I like that about a whiskey. That jamminess is still there. I feel a bit more of that kind of lime zest right at the end. It's just kind of coming at the back, and that little bit of sharpness coming through. It's really nice, really enjoyable. Maybe a wee bit dry. Yeah, the flowers are staying there. It's really fresh. A little bit of richness coming through as well. Slightly drying at the end. Good mouthfeel. Easy sipping whiskey. As I say, it's port cask. It is something a little bit different compared to our sherries, which we can get. I just find this is a lot sweeter than a sherry cask, unless you've got something like a PX. PXs I can find can be quite fruit led as well, but this is quite soft, easy sipping, still there, slightly dry, little bit of zest at the end somewhere coming through, but that flower note, it's really, I wouldn't say obscure, but I enjoy this, really do enjoy it. They do a cask strength version as well, which is absolutely phenomenal, and all of the Tawny, the Fumar and the Tenne. So that's really good if you're wanting something a bit more. We actually just picked up a bottle for my partner's dad, so he'll be looking forward to getting that. And he might leave me a wee dram as well, who knows. But I'm enjoying this. I'm going to add a little bit of water. I've not got my pipette, so I'm going to pour this off screen so I don't spill it everywhere and you all laugh at me. There we go, actually done quite well there. And when you add water to whiskey, which is unchill filtered, if you look at it very closely, you'll see the water integrate with the whiskey. It's a really, really cool thing to see. And you can see all the oils just transparent coming through. Like just now, the water's still trying to grab in there and just lighten this up a little bit. So we'll see what the water does. It smells drier now. It's weird. So that's quite like, what would I say? It's like potpourri. You know those wee bowls used to sit, my gran used to have the bowl, would sit there and it was like kind of dried flowers and things. I just had this really, it was nice, a nice smell to it. It's got that little tinge to it now with a little bit of water in there. It's just dried it off. Really fruit led still, that's still hanging around, that really, the sweet kind of jam notes and the, just a lot of sweet fruits in there, your darker fruits. That little bit of water takes away that sharp lime hit. It's giving me more of the, I would say, the port coming through now. And that little bit of water's watered it down, taking away the sharpness. Definitely it's more jammy now. It's got that kind of little, the barley notes kind of drop off a bit more, and it's just, it feels as if the water just went, okay, the whiskey's going away here, this is what a port cask is going to be doing to it. Really enjoyable, with and without water. I've found this, I would have that both ways. Some whiskies I just like without water and some I need to always add. This I would say is very versatile in both of them. Enjoyable whiskey. This is £45–50, not for this one but for a big bottle. My only annoyance with SPEY would say is the bottles are not shelf friendly. So if you try and put it in your shelf, because they're that tall, they're stunning bottles, they just don't like to fit in your shelf, so you need to always put them on the top, which is a good thing, because when they're always on top you're going to look up and see it. I've enjoyed it. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this a little bit more. I've got a little bit left in here, and I'm going to get my weekend kind of started here. Obviously, if you tuned in last week as well, you'd have seen there was an opportunity to win this. This is a tasting set that I done a video for last week of all my favourite whiskies that I kind of go to in my collection, and I said there will be a winner that I'll announce this week, and I'm going to do that just now. So looking through, there was loads of comments, everyone was getting involved. I really appreciate that. Again, I don't respond to them, I see them. It's hard to find the time to sit back and just answer everything, but as I say, I always appreciate everyone talking to me. So the winner that I picked, just at random as well, I've got my partner to help with, just to pick a name, is James Zimmerman. So James Zimmerman, you are the lucky winner of this. So if you can get across to me, if you've got Instagram or Twitter, reach out to me on there and get your address. I can try and get these to you wherever you are in the world. Hopefully we can get them to you before Christmas. So James Zimmerman, congratulations. I will also maybe throw in a wee other dram that I bought the other day as well, just as a wee extra, because why not? But as always, I've been Kevin from Kevin Grant on Whisky. Enjoy me next week. Let's talk whiskey. Slange.